Hey everybody, JJ here, Bull to the Bus. It is Wednesday, August 19th, 2020. Starting off with a shot of a video that I recorded earlier. This was at Mission Bay, and I'm not going to play the audio. I'm having to just talk over it like right now. You're hearing me talk over this. The recording I did at the beach, at the location, was so windy you couldn't really hear anything I said. But what I wanted to break down when I was recording this was the huge drop in tourism in San Diego, and we're going to talk about some articles and go over some numbers here. But this trip to the beach really revealed to me the huge drop in people visiting California. Now, for a while the beach was on such a big lockdown that there were cops everywhere. You weren't allowed to sit down. The lifeguards were patrolling the beach, making sure nobody was sitting down. It's not that strict now, but tourism really has not recovered. The parking lot, instead of being 70 to 80% full like it usually is, 100% full on really, really hot days. And inland, we had some very high temperatures, as high as 100 in some parts of East County, San Diego. Normally the beach is packed, and normally in the parking lot you see a lot of Arizona license plates, Nevada license plates, and yesterday again it was about 5 to 10% of what we normally see. And as you can see, I'm spinning the camera around here doing a little 360, and you can see the beach is just mostly empty. There's a few people, but even looking at the beach, you usually see tents and umbrellas set up, people barbecuing, more people in the water. Now this was the bay, it wasn't the where the waves are, right? But I've been to this particular beach before, and this was just way, way down. And the lodging and the tourism industry in San Diego is still struggling, and I pulled up some articles here. Now, first of all, right here, this points out that the jobless rate in San Diego dropped to 14.2%. Now, we know that the real number, when you do not look at just the cherry-picked data, when you don't look at the official data, but when you look at the real data, add on about 20%. So really, I'm guessing it's about 34%. But just going off of the official number, 14.2%, still shows you it's really bad here in San Diego, and we're a city that's heavily reliant on tourism and lodging for our jobs. Now, the highest that we had hit was 25%. That was in mid-May. So, of course, we have seen somewhat of a recovery, and we had reported on this previously, and this article here points it out that U.S. tourism altogether is down, of course, because of the infection. But San Diego is one of the hardest hit. And from what I had witnessed just earlier, just here recently, it's not recovering very quickly. And there's still, questions if California is going to be able to cover the 25% of the unemployment bonus benefits, or the extended benefits, as some are calling it. Out of the San Diego Union Tribune here, SeaWorld revenue attendance plunges 96%. All right, and that's just one example of the huge drop-off in tourism and lodging. So think about all of the jobs in the hospitality industry, tourism, lodging, all the hotels, the rental car companies. And now we have the governor out here saying that California has no money to pitch in on these extended unemployment benefits. So it's going to be very interesting in the next few months here to see how this unfolds. And keep in mind, even if the lockdowns were to end tomorrow and people resumed their regular activities as far as traveling and vacationing, vacations and tourism, right, would people be spending like they did before the shutdown? Remember, a lot of people went out and spent more when they had those extra unemployment benefits, and right after they got their stimulus checks, a lot of people went out and spent. Now, you can argue that most people went out and just bought necessities, but I don't think that's necessarily true. A lot of people were buying things they really didn't need. I know I talk about that quite frequently, but take a look at Target's sales. Sales climbed 195% in the second quarter, an 80% jump in their profits. And that's because so many small businesses were shut down. The mega corporations, the multinationals like Target and Walmart, Home Depot, Best Buy, and so forth, absorbed a lot of that business that might have went to small businesses. And groceries is not the bulk of what Target sells. You could say people are just buying food, but it looks like that These mega corporations probably would like the shutdown to last forever and just get rid of all small businesses. And it's pretty sad because small businesses actually create much more jobs than these mega corporations. Now, Walmart is the biggest employer, but when it comes to total jobs, they're mostly from small businesses. And this is highlighted through this tweet right here. Dan Price tweeted out the following: S&P 500 companies, aka the stock market, employ 20% of U.S. workers. Small businesses employ 50% of workers. All right, and those numbers are pretty close. He also continues here, it's nice that the stock market is at a record high, but small businesses at record low. Revenue is down 10% more than the Great Recession peak. So when you hear this myth of a recovery, it may be a recovery for the stock market. It's more than a recovery for these mega corporations. They have not only not had a problem where they have not seen a decline, their profits nearly doubled in some cases. And the disconnect is so obvious that even people like Jim Cramer are talking about it. He says with the S&P at new highs, the actual economy is in precarious shape. Those are his words. And I haven't really been a big follower of Jim Cramer, but his show's pretty popular, and a lot of people look at him for a narrative on the economy. All right, so I don't know what's going to happen this November as far as which side's going to win, but either way, it doesn't look good. We have the current administration right now pointing at the stock market, not seeming really concerned about all of the unemployment, and they're pointing to bogus numbers, bragging about how the unemployment has improved and how jobs are coming back. But a lot of these jobs are just people getting rehired from the jobs they had before that were not paying enough to keep people out of debt, because the banking system in this country and these economic policies that have been carried on and continued and exaggerated by the current administration have prices running out of control. Inflation is out of control. People, even before the shutdown, were not able to keep up with the cost of living. And yes, I know a lot of people, they waste a lot of money. People spend unnecessarily. They take vacations and trips they don't need. They go out and buy brand new cars and roll their loans into getting another car when the old car is not paid off yet. And you have endless lending because the banks are propped up no matter what, which allows that to happen. But people also, need to be more careful about spending, absolutely. So we have to kind of balance it out here. It's a systemic problem with the financial system, the banking industry, and the way that it's deregulated. But it's also a spending problem, people living above their means. Now, what I've been doing is hedging against this inflationary environment by trying to get as much silver as possible. Prices have shot up pretty high recently. Let's get an update here on the price. Today we actually saw about a 5% drop. We're down to $26.74 per ounce in silver. Gold dropped to $19.34. And I look at these dips as buying opportunities. They are going to print the dollar into oblivion. Now, there's people that predicted the dollar was going to collapse a long time ago, so I'm not saying this is going to happen tomorrow or next week, but ultimately the dollar is dead in the water. Now, Peter Schiff, he was out there recently, and he had a lot to say on this. Quote, "The myth is that the U.S. economy was strong before the shutdown. It wasn't strong at all. It was the weakest it had ever been. It was the biggest bubble that have ever existed. That's why the economy imploded so quickly as a result of the shutdown lockdowns. The air started coming out in the fourth quarter of 2018, and the dollar is being wiped out." Schiff goes on to say, quote, "Everything that the U.S. government did in the aftermath of the 2008 financial crisis was a mistake. All of its monetary policy was wrong, and all of its fiscal policy was wrong. As a consequence, we never actually recovered from the crisis, which was caused by the Fed and the government. We simply made all the problems that caused that crisis worse." Schiff continues, "The dollar is going to fall through the floor and inflation is going to ravish the United States. What's about to happen is that the world is going off the dollar standard, going back to a gold standard. That is where we are headed." Right now, again, I'm not all in on this position. I wouldn't recommend, and I don't give advice, but I personally am not going more than 20% in precious metals. I'm somewhere between 10 and 15% right now. I also hold some minor stocks, some cryptos, but it's mostly cash because I'm waiting for better real estate buying opportunities. That's where I'm at. Maybe pick up an investment property if I'm lucky in the next correction in the housing market. When that happens, it will happen eventually. The people that are patient are going to get deals. There's a lot of people though being sucked into these markets right now. It's very tempting when you see easy money and lending out there, record low mortgage rates. But you got to be careful not to get yourself wiped out by jumping in at the top, not having FOMO. Just my take on it. Thanks for watching this report, everybody. We appreciate it. Please like and subscribe and come back for more financial economic news. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.